Have you ever applied for a loan and then all of a sudden gotten your phone completely blown up? This episode is for you. Today we've got Sue Mershon from Gold Star Financial, who's going to share some tips and tricks on how the financial industry works and how to prevent some of those things from happening. I'm super excited to have you on the line and talk about something that is super worrisome for our industry. And I'm so glad that you're able to come on here and kind of share some tips and tricks with us. So let's get right into it, Sue.
Thank you. Appreciate being on here. So one of the things that I hear quite a bit is people are worried about when they're applying for a loan or talking to me about having their credit pulled. And most of the time they're worried about, is this going to impact my score? Which in general, it doesn't. It's 3 to 5 points typically, unless you're having your credit pulled all the time. But what an after effect is of having your credit pulled is people are now getting all kinds of telemarketing calls. Their phones are just blowing up. And the reason for that is because the credit card bureaus, so TransUnion, Experian, Equifax, part of how they make their money is they sell those leads. They're called trigger leads. And so on a mortgage, I have one client tell me that she literally had almost 100 calls in the first week after I pulled her credit, which is just crazy. Like, it's so bad that there's actually legislation in Congress right now. It's called the Trigger Leads Abatement Act to stop this practice. You got people in call centers all over the place just bombarding you. Imagine trying to conduct your life and your phone is just blowing up. It's just nuts. It's really, really invasive and upsetting to people.
Yeah, for good reason. I mean, nobody wants their phone blown up. I mean, the calls, the text messages, and I sure hope Congress takes a serious look at that and passes that legislation across the board. Should be a bipartisan effort. I don't think anyone would not be in support of that. So how do you protect yourself ahead of time so that you don't have to deal with as much of this?
Yep. So there's some really good ways. So one of the strategies that I use is we can do soft pulls, right? Which does not trigger because that doesn't get sold. Those types of leads aren't available for selling. And while you do that, if you haven't done it already, you can get on the do not call list, which we probably haven't heard about that in quite a while. For a while, that was big. It was all over the place, but a lot of people have forgotten. They've got new numbers. You got to do that so you don't get the telemarketing calls. The second thing you can do is you can go to a website, and Greg will share it with you guys. It's the opt-out pre-screen. It basically stops their ability to do that. And it usually takes about a week or so before that goes into effect. So there is a little time. You can't just sign up for it and then go have your credit pulled. But it does seriously reduce the number of calls you're supposed to get.
So it's almost part of your process now. When you do meet with somebody, you're doing an initial soft pull, which for our viewers is basically kind of a open look at everything, but not going into the complete pulling all three bureaus. Mm-hmm. I think it shares like the score with you and some of the things, but it doesn't give you everything. But once you get to the part where you want, or where you get to the part of the process where they're ready to fully apply, then you do pull the hard pull. But your process is, once you do that, you're preventing and helping them understand the steps so that they can deal with less of this. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. And the soft pull gives us more than enough information to help someone pre-approve, make decisions, be able to go out and start looking at homes. But to do an actual loan, we do need a hard pull, but we don't want you to have to go through being harassed just because you're looking at buying a home or a car or any other reason. But typically, obviously, I'm hearing about it just for a home loan.
Yeah, so we'll have on the link below in the article, we'll have links to the two things that you can do to kind of be a proactive user. And I know that like the do not call list, I think you actually have to update it every so often too. So like you can fall off of that list. So it's good to make sure that you reapply and make sure that those numbers are on there. So if you have questions about the mortgage process in Northeastern Wisconsin, feel free to reach out to Sue Mershon. Like I said, we'll have her information below and we'll have those tips that you can prevent the massive blow up of your phone. So thanks so much for sharing that with us, Sue.
Thank you.